Ooh, good call from Tom in the back. Is this the original brand with the flour? It's got brown rice flour. He called me out on it. You're right. We should go to the new and improved all Chia. But thankfully, Homer, that is now out and available, correct?
Yep.
So we can find it now, just the straight Chia. That's a good call, Tom. We did have a little brown rice flour mixed into your dish here.
But
Because
it is organic brown rice flour.
yes.
I'm sure it's good. I was just curious.
And it's the original formula.
Is brown rice flour, it's not considered raw?
Yes, it would be. And really, I have no real argument against using brown rice flour. But if I had to choose between the two, there's no parallel. This has twice the amount of protein than any grain, including brown rice. So, man, why would I stick brown rice in there? Give me the extra bonus here. Brown rice doesn't have near even any antioxidant value. Here we have 3 times the antioxidant value of their strawberries, blueberries, or raspberries that I'm going to throw in for flavor here. 1 pack of blueberry or raspberries. And you see this recipe is very similar to the bar, except for we added in some oats. And I do like to mash up just a little bit with the raspberries so it mixes in, because you'll see the finished product over here. It's got that kind of nice pink hue to it. If you use blueberries, it'll have a nice blue color. So just take the time and smash up your raspberries a little bit so they mix in. And this is another one. I've had many granola recipes. I've added in dry coconut. I've added in sesame seeds, pumpkin seeds, all these different extra grains and seeds. And it was tasty, but man, when I chewed it and digested it, I had all this extra bloating and gas and digestive irritation because it was too complex. So now I'm a new fan. If I'm making these dishes, less is more. I'd rather put less in there. And if I want to have a blueberry one, then I'll make a blueberry one. Just so you make your call, but I'll tell you, as far as digestion, it's going to be a lot easier in if you put less ingredients in than more, at least in varieties. So there we have it. Let's get on a tray. And we'll stick our food dehydrator tray.
Would it make a difference if you added like 2 fruits? Is that what makes it hard to digest, or is it fruit?
Very good question. Is it the fruits that make it difficult to digest, having complexity of varieties of fruits, or is it the complexity of grains? I think it's both. I think the more that we're putting in, the body's working on different chemical levels and it becomes more irritating. And I'd say if I had to pick one more than the other, it is likely to be the fruits, because the fruits are more fragile. They'll ferment a lot quicker at 98 degrees. So when they're mixed with a grain, you do have a higher potential of fermenting those fruits. So if I had lots of different fruits in here mixed, I truly believe that would be more. So then, unless somebody had specific intolerances to nuts and seeds or weren't masticating their food properly, as most Americans don't, that's a big issue. You know, the yogis in India, before they would swallow their food, they would chew 72 times on either side of their mouth before they'd swallow. And you think, 72 times? Try it once. Chew your food 72 times on either side of your mouth before you swallow. That's how far your food should be broken down before it goes into your stomach. And the reason is any food, this food, has to be broken down to a liquid state in order to get in my bloodstream. So that means if I didn't chew and masticate properly, my digestive tract has to work twice as hard to break that food down to get it into a liquid state. So take your time and chew your food thoroughly is the old message. And if you do it once at 72 times either side, you'll see just the ideal what it could or should be. There we go. I'm just going to stick this in the food dehydrator overnight. And that's just to give it more of a crispy texture. You don't have to. I'll tell you, this is very tasty, taking it right here and going right to my almond milk and pouring it in and eating it by a big spoonful. So we have our nut. Let's see. Why don't we give you the granola, we'll give you the nut bar, and then we'll take you into the last recipe, which is the raw crepes. There's a couple steps in that, and that is a real special recipe. We'll go ahead and start this one so you can start chewing on that, and then I'll set up the next stage. Maybe. Then should lay out the plates. The last recipe is raw crepes. Let me get this close down the noise. We've made this recipe before. It comes from the book Raw Food, Real World. It's an excellent recipe. Enjoy it thoroughly. It's really easy to make. It's got a couple steps though, so bear with us for a moment while we get the steps ready. First, we got to make the crepe. The crepe, you'll see as it finishes, nice and pliable, nice and soft. We're going to roll this. We're going to use an apple mash and roll it on the inside. That's going to be our crepe. And we're going to dehydrate it real quick. And of course, we're not using any flour like you would normally have in a crepe. We're going to use 3 cups of coconut. And you could use fresh coconut, but I'm a little funny on a lot of the coconuts. A lot of times it's hard to find them in good shape and clean. So I've got dry coconut, and I've got a mixture. Chia seed flour, and I did stick in a little bit of flaxseed powder, half and half. And the flax I put in there for a little bit extra color. I'd rather have the chia seed in there because of the much higher nutritional value, higher protein content, higher essential fatty acid content. But we're going to put a little bit of flax in there just for color. About a cup full of water, and I still need an apple somewhere. Here we go. We'll do a quick little chop of an apple. And it's about a cup and a half worth of apples. So, and these big, huge York apples, it's about 1 apple. If you're going to use a small apple, it's going to be about 1.5 to 2. But these heirloom varieties, they grow them big. And what's neat on these heirloom varieties, you'll see that there's so many different sizes. There's small ones, there's big ones, there's oblong ones. And you look at all these hybrids, they're all perfectly round, they're all symmetrical. That should be a real red flag to us and the consumers saying like, man, wait a minute, there were beginning days, nature grew things differently and there was varieties. Now we got all these hybrids, so they all look the same. Do yourself the favor, buy the heirloom varieties whenever you can. Okay, just going to take the skins off. You'll see for the filling we'll leave most of the skin on. But in this case, we're going to make this into our batter. So I'm going to take the skin off just so it'll cream up easier and blend a lot easier and be smoother when we make our batter. Otherwise, I would rather keep the skin because the highest amount of nutrients truly are available in the skin. So usually when I make a recipe like this, I'll take the skin off and then I'll just sit there while I'm making the recipe and I'll sit there eating the skin of my seeds. Getting all that wonderful vitamin B17 out of the seeds that's known as laetrile, a natural anti-cancerous property available in the seed. Nobody likes to eat anymore. Where'd my recipe go? There it is. Are we missing anything? We're missing a little agave. Sea salt, that gives us balance. About 3 tablespoons of agave. You call that 3? I call that 3. And sea salt, a big pinch. The sea salt just balances it out. This is going to be like a dough, so you do need a little sea salt to balance. And we'll do a quick grind. Plunge in there, work it down. See, this motor's really loading up. And get it up a little higher. There we go. Now we're moving. Just a little more water. I need some water. One moment, a little more water. Tell it's just a little thick. It's going to be about a cup and a half.